about it. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem, you go to Simchas and you go to this and you go to that. Right? So it's, it's good, but I don't know if that's, I can't imagine if go tell somebody, just ignore your family, go hide in the mountains. Right? I don't know exactly people are going to do that, but all right, whatever. You can't.
Sometimes it's not a bad idea.
Parents,
Yeah.
Mr. Shem, you're going to be making your first chasna, first of more. Just want to tell you, Mom, it hit me when Yaakov was saying certain things in this. Two things to tell you. Baruch Hashem, I made chasnas. One, I had nothing to do with Nechama Kat. She's a wonderful person. I introduced her to my brother-in-law, my wife's first brother, who was nifta years ago. I introduced them, and I said, you both talk to each other during the chasna. I'm not in the Nechama. I don't want to talk to you. Nothing at all. Anything he could decide, whatever he decides, that goes. I will not have a time on you. I don't want to talk to you till I have to give you money. I don't want to talk to you. You talk to him. I have nothing to do. I don't care about the chopped liver. I don't care about the seats. I don't care about the soda. Garnish. Talk to him. They did that. And the second thing, parents, I wanted to, because you, Baruch Hashem, also like a l'chaim, there was people who came over to my wife and said, I can't believe your husband got drunk by his daughter's chasna. I did not have one drink. It was all from simcha. I had one or two, I had cold beer, so it was geschmack. I had nothing, no wine, no hard stuff. It was totally from simcha. It was one of the nicest nights of my whole life, Baruch Hashem. You should have the same mazel, Mitzvah Hashem, by yours.
Amen.
Rabbi, one second. You weren't involved with the filet mignon and how we should prepare it?
No, not 1 second.
See what was going on over here?
I read a good book, William Manchester. He was a Marine. So he wrote about, there's such a din in the U.S. Army, the Navy. The admirals are in charge of everything, right? Famous admirals, Nimitz, Halsey. But when the first boat lands on the beach, there's such a position called the beach master, and he overrules everybody. Because Lemaisa, he's there. Nobody could. He tells everybody what to do. The admiral calls him from the ship. He tells him, "Go hang yourself." He's in charge. Once the first landing craft lands on the island, that's it. It's a big responsibility, obviously, but that's it. So the same thing. I made my brother-in-law whatever he tells you to do. I don't care.
There you go. Okay, parents, the lesson is no drinking by the chasna.
I was going to say, leave it to the beach master.
Parents, the site is not that don't drink. The site is it won't matter. People are just going to criticize you anyways. You might as well drink.
Akiva, that's what you took out of it. Okay. You see, everybody takes out something else from it.
He said they accused him of drinking anyway. So what's the difference? You might as well enjoy yourself.
I took out from there.
He enjoyed
there was no
without
filet mignon. So that's what I took out.
He enjoyed himself without the drinking.
Right, but if you don't enjoy yourself, what's the difference? You might as well drink.
Fair enough.
It's also Netza. Akiva's also Netza.
Yeah.
Jesse's going to help us out with that now, it looks like.
So Yaakov, I see yesterday you're going after the... So Yaakov, I see yesterday you're going after the Shadchanim. Today you're going after the taxi drivers. Who's next?
Yeah, you're next, Avrami. Watch out.
That's good to know.
Avrami, watch yourself, Avrami.
Let me tell you something.
Avrami, just know that din, you probably learned it from your father. Real estate, there's no such thing as a high price. You can charge whatever you want in Karka. It doesn't matter. You can go shoot the moon, and that's what you have to pay.
As long as there's a buyer, you can charge whatever you want.
That's by Karka. It's not by eggs or rye bread, but it's by Karka. Go for the moon.
Let me tell you something. I never got any bad feedback like this, not stam. I've been busy with this the whole day. A couple of Shadchanim came after me. Woo! It was gewaldig.
Yaakov, what was your thing with Shadchanim?
From 2 days ago, down.
Oh, you can promise to pay them and not pay them.
Yeah. No, you have to pay them the basic, but that's it.
Akiva, you know what a shadchan is? You know the term?
Aaron.
All too
I
well.
think we have a bleep button for that reason.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on,
That
Ziakov,
almost
did you at least get the proper rates from them, like what they considered normal rates?
What time's the daf?
Very good, doctor. Very good. Yes, on that note,
Great to
yeah,
business,
what
Dr. Foreman.
But I gotta think on the night when they're doing the technology thing, so being in touch with family, the Maisa, if there's one mile to texting and these group things, it's Baruch Hashem, our families are so big, it wouldn't be shaykh without this technology to maintain family. Now you're going to say, okay, Orchos Tzadikim says, who cares about family? All right, that's a kasha for Namaisa. But the bottom line is that we have to appreciate the technology that we're able to stay in touch with family much, much better. Okay. On that note, we said new Perek. We're back to Yevamos for a couple of blot here. Yeah, so so Zok the Mishnah. We're doing okay before we start the Mishnah. There's something called Miyun, which we had quite a few times. And let's just chazer what Miyun is. So Miyun is if a person dies and he has a kid, he has a daughter. So normally the din is, I was actually thinking about texting this out and see what kind of bad thing is that a man can marry off his daughter against her will up until the age of 12 and she has no say whatsoever, according to Allah. Imagine what that would happen if I text that one out. But anyways, so normally that's what a father can do. But if the father's nifter, then his brothers, his sons, whatever, her brothers, and the mother can marry her off. However, there's a contingency, which is basically she can walk out on the marriage at any time. Up until the age of 12, she can walk out on the marriage. So that's called Miyun. So we have here, I think it's 5 machlokes Beis Shamai Beis Hillel in the Mishnah that we start off with about the different specifics about Miyun. So so Beis Shamai, okay, Kuf Zayin Amud Aleph. So Beis Shamai Oimrim, Ein Mamanin Ela Arusas. So you can only do Miyun if you were engaged. I mean, according to Beis Shamai, there's two, not according to Beis Shamai, according to everybody, there's 2 steps in marriage. There's what we call the engagement, which is Kedushin, or Erisin. And then you have the marriage, which in those times it took place a year later. Nowadays, we do it right under the chuppah. The brachas that the Masada Kedushin says, that's Kedushin. And then you have chuppah, and you have the Sheva brachas is Nesuin. So we do it one after the other. But back then, there was a year's time in between. So Beis Shamai holds that Miyun can only be done when they're engaged. If they decided to get married, so let's say she got engaged at age 10, and at age 11 she got married, that's it. Miyun's over, she cannot do Miyun, she's stuck with the guy. That's Shitas Beis Shamai. Beis Hillel Arusas v'Nesuas. No, you can do Miyun for Arusas and Nesuas. Even if they got married, you can still do Miyun. Beis Shamai Amrim, then that's one machlok. The second machlok is yavam. You can only do Miyun to the husband, not to the yavam. Meaning, if she got married when she was 10 years old, and then when she was 11 years old, her husband died, and they didn't have kids, like we learned last week, minors couldn't, at least in the Gemara's times, couldn't have kids. So there was no kids. So now she has to marry her brother-in-law. So can she say do Miyun and say, I don't want to do Yibum? I wasn't married to my original husband either. And so Beis Shamai says you can't do that. You cannot do it to the Yavam. No, you could do both. Right? If she falls to her brother-in-law in Yibum, she could say, I'm out. And then she doesn't have to do the Yibum. Machlok is number 3. Beis Shamai says you have to do the Miyun in front of him. Meaning she can't just walk out on him when he goes to work and then he comes home and she leaves a little note. By the way, I miyuned you, right? That's that is not allowed according to Beis Shamai. Beis Hillel says she can just walk out on him. Beis Shamai Yomrim, this is the 4th. Beis Shamai Yomrim Beis Din, it has to be done in Beis Din. Beis Hillel Yomrim Beis Din b'shalei Beis Din. Beis Hillel says it can be done either in Beis Din or not in Beis Din. Amrulem Beis Hillel Beis Shamai Mima'enes v'hi katana afilu daled v'hei pa'amim. Beis Hillel said she can go get married to 5 different husbands and keep just throwing them out, right? And that would be and that's allowed. Amrulem Beis Shamai ein b'nos Yisrael hefker. We can't say the b'nos Yisrael are hefker. right? Element ma'anes, she has to do miyun. She could do miyun. Umamtenes tagdil, and then she has to wait till she becomes grown up. V'timayin, and then she has to do miyun again. V'tinas and get married, which we'll see in the Gemara exactly what's going on there. She already did miyun, meaning the way Beis Shamai is saying is once she does miyun, she's out till she's 12. Right? Let's say she got married at 10. At 11, age 11, she got fed up with the guy. Fine, but she's not. She can get rid of him, but she cannot get married to anybody else until she's 12. In which case, the Mishnah seems to be saying she has to do miyun again, and then she can get married, right? Which doesn't seem correct. Which we'll see in the Gemara at the end of the daf, at the end of Beis. Fine. So those are the 5 machlokes between Beis Shamai and Beis Hillel. Fine. So now the Gemara first discusses the first machlokes, which again, as Beis Shamai says, you can only do miyun when you're engaged. Once you get married, it's too late to do miyun. And Beis Hillel says, no, you could do miyun even after they got married. So Amar Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Now, and the main difference, obviously, between being engaged and being married is they're obviously a much closer relationship once they get married. That's one. And two is that there's relations. They had intimacy, right? So therefore, meaning the intimacy is not allowed when they were engaged. It's only allowed once they're married. So the question is it a much closer relationship? And therefore it should be it shouldn't be allowed. So that's what the Gemara is saying. So Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel. My time at the Beis Shamai. Why does Beis Shamai say that you can only do miyun from engagement? Lefi she'ein tanai b'nesuin. You can't make a tanai in nesuin. We had this also last week or 2 weeks ago. Somebody's allowed to get married, and he's allowed to say, "I'm marrying you on condition that you make me steak every night for dinner." So she makes steaks, right? But that can only be done when they're engaged. Once they're married, he cannot make a tanai and say, "By the way, once we get married, I want steaks every day also. If not, our marriage is no good." That does not work. And the reason why it doesn't work, you can't make a tanai nesuin because even though they made the tanai before they got married, but once he gets married to her, meaning the nesuin part, we're assuming he got so close to her that even if he doesn't get a steak from her, he'll still stay married to her, right? So that's what he's saying. So Beis Shamai is saying, since the bottom line is you can't make a tanai in nesuin, be nesua tamayin, and therefore if you're going to allow a nesua to do miyun, then asi lememer yesh tanai b'nesuin. So anybody seeing this is going to say, oh, he married this girl, and it must be that this girl didn't meet her tanayim. She didn't meet the agreement, and therefore he got divorced. So that's Beis Shamai sort of saying a gezerah. There's really, you could do miyun from when they're married, but since somebody seeing this is going to think that, oh, she must not have met the tanayim, right, and therefore she is not, she's leaving the marriage, and they're going to end up making tanayim in marriages. So that's why Beis Shamai says you can't do it. So Gemara says, okay, nichnas l'chuppah. The Gemara asks, nichnas l'chuppah v'lo niula ma'igla mamar. But okay, so let's say they just went to chuppah, but they didn't have bia. Can she do miyun then? Meaning, so they go to the chasana, so they walk down the chuppah. They're all hanging out under the chuppah, fine. And then they're going to go to yichud room, and then they're dancing. And then she says, I really don't like the way this guy dances, so I want out. So can we say that the closeness is the relations, and since they didn't have relations yet, she could still do miyun? So we say no. Lefisha ain't tanai b'chuppah. Nobody does a tanai in a chuppah. When a tanai doesn't work for chuppah, because it's there's enough closeness under the chuppah that you don't need to come on to relations to make them closer. Okay, so then the Gemara says, Masa asks, what about if the father gave her over to the shluchei habal, meaning the Baal sent messengers, and he didn't actually, meaning the husband didn't actually see her. The husband sent shluchim to marry her. Then how can there be a closeness? So maybe she should be able to do miyun, right? Yeah. So the Gemara answers like plug Rabbanan. And the Rabbanan said it's a light plug. Once they said that you can't make any miyun after you get married, after this nesuin, so even if it's done with a shliach, then it's a light plug.
Can I ask Amarat's a question?
Yeah.
How old is this girl when they have the nesuin?
let's say 10, 11, under 12.
So the Miyun stops, meaning she has no choice then?
Yes. Once she gets married, she's out. She
So
can no
she's
longer.
forced, so it means the father can force her to get married, Erison, Nesuin, and then it's too late.
Yeah.
See, Yaakov, isn't Miyun only when it's not the father? When it's a
I
regular,
was waiting,
no, it's the
I
mother
was
and the
waiting.
daughter.
Very good, Akiva. It's good to have you back. I was waiting for somebody to ask this question. I thought Peretz was going to ask it. How can the father send her as a shlichus? The whole Miyun only works if the father's dead.
Right. It doesn't.
Right? The
It's
Gemara's
if it's
asking
she's
the
an
father-
orphan
Right.
because the father's a real kedushin. You can't do Miyun on a father's Masira.
Correct. So that's Rashi says. He says it's lav dafka. Yeah.
What does it mean, love doctor?
It's lav
What-
dafka.
what
means
about the
brothers
brother?
gave her over. What do you
Yeah.
say, Rabin? What?
The brother.
The brothers
The
gave her over.
brothers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what it is. It's the brothers and lav dafka the father, which is interesting why the Gemara does mention father, right?
I mean, that's a huge machlokes, no?
What do you mean?
I mean, you're dealing with okay, they have the Erison and then they have the Kedushin and it's over. She can't do anything about it. Versus Beis Hillel says she can do up till she's 12.
Even if she's married.
Yeah, the way I understand,
The what? The what are you saying?
Even after Kedushin, even up to 12, she could bail out.
Kedushin or Nesuin?
That's only if
Kedushin.
there's no father in the picture.
Nesuin,
Once the
if
father's in the picture, it's real kedushin. It's not Rabbanan kedushin. It's their
Right.
midiraisa.
Correct.
But
If
she's
the
still,
father
she's
marries her
still
off,
under
it's the
12.
rest. No,
No,
only-
nothing to do with that. The father has a real koyach to go ahead and be Makadisher. The brothers and the mother don't.
She-
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, but honestly, what's
okay, so
bothering you?
I'm still lost then. The whole Mian thing is what?
Only if it's the mother or the brothers.
So the father dies and she's not
Right.
married yet.
Right.
The mother-
Or-
Correct. The mother and the brothers marry her off.
Okay, and now the machlokes between Beis Shamai and Beis Hillel is if Beis Shamai says if she's married, if she has Nesuin, it's done. There's no more Mian.
Correct.
So that's a big, that can be a difference of, okay. Saying they marry
Yeah.
off a 9-year-old, she gets married a week later, she's done,
Correct.
that's
She
it.
can't do the Nesuin. Yes, according to Beis Shamai, she has to know that once she does the second stage of the marriage, that's it. She's in.
I mean, if she doesn't do the Mian,
Yeah, she has the choice. She has the choice. Anyways, okay, so that's the first shot. That's the first shot in Beis Shamai. Again, that we're just worried that people are going to think that you can make a Tanai in the Kedushin. Beis Hillel, and what does Beis Hillel say about this? Made the idea the Nesui Katana Derabanan. You know, everybody knows that when a girl under 12 gets married, that's and married off by the brothers and the mother. Everybody knows it's a Derabanan, and everybody knows the concept of Miyun. So nobody's going to learn out if she's going to if she's going to do Miyun. I don't want to use the word get, right? Because that's going to just confuse things, right? If she's going to have Miyun from her husband, that nobody's going to confuse it that she got married possibly with a Tanai. That's fine. Okay, that's first teretz. Second teretz. Rabbi Rabbi Yosef Dami, not teretz. Second pshan Beis Shamai. Rabbi Rabbi Yosef Dami Devar Tami de Beis Shamai. She'ein adam oiseh bilas znus. The reason why you cannot make a Tanai in marriage is because what happens if they get married? He tells them, he makes up a deal with his wife. He gets a steak every night for forever, right? The minute she stops, okay, I'm not saying whether that Tanai works, if that's the proper Tanai. I'm just using it as an example, right? So they're married a week and she gives them macaroni and cheese. She's out. She's out from the steak. So he says, okay, the marriage is over. Now, if you do this from the second stage of marriage, that means every time he slept with her, he was doing it with znus, right? It's very nice that she's not meeting the Tanai. Okay, so now when he slept with her, he annulled the marriage, right? So that means every time he slept with his wife, he was doing it illegally. So nobody's going to do that. So therefore, it's we're not going to say therefore we're not going to allow miyun after nesuin because that's going to make every bia into a bia znus, right? Dr. Gemara asked the same question as before. Okay, so maybe she could do miyun between the chuppah and the bia. She can do miyun because there's no bia znus. So the Gemara answers like nicha that the havi chuppah the isura. It's not nicha that his chuppah should be in the isur either. Right, meaning chuppah is supposed to be right to be. We had this a few times, right? That's the problem with the chuppahs neither with the Rambam, right? That you shouldn't. That's why the Chassidim are so makbid not to have chuppahs neither because you really want to be makbid on the Rambam who holds that the chuppah has to be roy lebiyah. So if she said neither, it's not roy lebiyah. So whatever the Gemara's Teres is saying that the chuppah is supposed to be the beginning of biyah. So therefore, it's going to be embarrassing if all of a sudden she annuls the marriage. Fine. So then Masarav l'shluchei abal, the same as before. If the av, which we said is lav dafka, and it's the brothers that are giving to the shluchei abal, ma'ikal mamar, where there's no bia possible. So then what are you going to say with that? Again, loy plug rabbanon. It's a loy plug. Okay, what's Beis Hillel going to say to this? So Beis Hillel kimin deika kedushin uksuba loy asu l'mamar to be lost no. Since everybody knew that there was a kedushin here and there was a ksuba, nobody's going to say that, oh, this guy is just being mizana. It was a proper marriage, and then for whatever reason, she decided to leave. No different than any marriage that ends in a get or something like that, right? So that's the second teretz. Third teretz, Rapapa Amar, not teretz. Third shot, Rapapa Amar, time of the Beis Shamai Mishum Peri, because of the Peris, and time of the Beis Hillel Mishum Peri, because of Peris, right? So we had this a few times. That there's different ways of a woman that brings in property to the marriage. What's the status of that property? So here we're talking about this nichse milug, which is basically if she comes in with a field to the marriage. So he gets to use the field the whole time that they're married, and then she gets it, she sends it right back. I mean, she gets it back once they get divorced. So we're right. So that's how it goes. So we're chayshin. So let's see. So that's what's going on here. So Beis Shamai is worried about it, and Beis Hillel is worried about it, but for opposite reasons. Time of the Beis Shamai Mishum Peri, the Beis Shamai is worried about Peres because if you're going to say that she could walk out even when they do the second stage of the marriage, he's going to go grab from the word shmita. He's just going to destroy that field. The saif lemefakaima. Because he thinks I could walk home one day and she says she's walking out on me. So I better chaparine and milk this field for whatever I can. And then he may end up destroying that field. That's Beis Shamai's concern. So Mamela, Beis Shamai says, okay, there's no miyun from Nesuin. By the way, he only gets the field after Nesuin, not by the engagement, only by the second stage. Beis Hillel, Adarabah, since we're going to say to him, by the way, she could walk out on you at any time, so you better behave. So he figures he's going to fix the field properly so that she comes home and says, hey, you're treating my field very nicely. I'm going to stay married to you, right? So, because if I don't, her relatives are going to give eitzes, like the Tzadika, right? And they're going to tell her to get rid of this guy. He doesn't know how to treat your fields properly, right? So that's nichse milug. Agav, I did have a Rav. I don't know why he came to me to ask me this question, but there's a nichse milug issue where a couple just got married. They bought a house. Zivik Sheni for both. They bought a house together with a lot of cash. She brought in 2/3 of cash. He brought in 1/3 to the house. They're married 5 months. They are having bitter shalom bayis issues, and they're getting divorced. She doesn't even want to see him. Right? Now, he doesn't want to leave the house. They want to sell the house. Bottom line is she wants to start charging him rent. Right? She says, I own 2/3 of the house. So this Rav is trying to figure out what's the eitzah. Can she charge him rent? So l'chayra, how could she charge him rent? Nichse milug, they're still married. He gets to use the house until they get divorced. Right? L'chayra. So, okay, I mean, whatever. I don't know. This is way above my head. Let me tell you.
This has to go to the Ami magazine, the fake Batei Dinim articles that they have.
Or Perek, it can be in one of those, sensational articles that they put in there too, in the back. whatever.
You say ask the shadchan or the other one, navigator.
Right. Right. But anyways, no, nowadays the nifsei milug is property. It could be a car also, right? A woman comes in with a car, the husband gets the car.
I'm saying she's not divorced from him. What says the how could she charge him?
Because sometimes if it's in his das to get divorced, there's shitas like that. Whatever. We'll have to see as we go through ksubas and about all these in Yonim. But that's a modern day nifsei milug.
No,
So,
halachic prenup, Yaakov.
I don't know if they had a halachic prenup. It doesn't sound like they did. Doesn't sound like they did. But anyway.
What about
Anyway,
after the petir? Does the almana have a right to the house?
Does Almana have a right to the house?
Well, she's not
Yes,
shooting
but
him
that's for a
yet,
different thing.
and she's not up to that.
Yeah, that's a different thing. That's a different thing, that the Almana does have to be fed and housed by the brothers or survivors, whatever it is. Okay, right. The fourth shot. Rava Amar Hainu Time at the Beis Shamai She'ein Adam Terech Basuda Umafsida. Again, Rabban, this is what you're talking about before the daf. A person is not going to be matriach himself for the suda and lose it. Right? Meaning, if this guy who's marrying this girl, this Yisaima, thinks that he can make this huge chasana, and then the next morning she says, that was a very nice party and I'm out now, right? Then he's not going to make the suda. So that's why Beis Shamai says, okay, so therefore once you make the suda, the nesuin, that's it, she can no longer walk out. Right? Which is a fascinating shot. How important is the chasana suda already?
Wait, the first dance? Before the first dance?
Whatever. Yeah. So what I'm saying, how important is the chasana suda? That for that reason, you're not going to allow her to do miyun. Okay, but elamai.
So that's first the 3 blot of ksubas about how important the chasana suda is.
No, that's true, right? The first 3 blot ksubas, yeah, it's the chasana suda. We shouldn't poo-poo it, with all takanas, everybody's talking lamai cigarette. A chasana suda is very important. Now, what's interesting is who pays for the chasana suda bisman hazeh? The kala. What happened here? The kala's not paying here. I'm saying we're worried about him paying, right? Which is the way it was. I don't know exactly when in history it changed, but the Tamayam and Hagim brings that he thinks that the reason why it changed is because the Gemara says that if you go to the Sudas Chassan V'Kala, if you're nene from Sudas Chassan V'Kala and you don't provide any simcha to the Chassan V'Kala, then it says you're over on Chamisha Dvarim, whatever the Gemara says. So it's not a good thing. So he says, so therefore it changed and the Kala is paying for the Suda. So therefore that's not called Sudas Chassan. That happens to be the Kala's. It's the Kala's. I don't know if he means that serious or he doesn't, but
let's say a young couple, they get married, right? And they're both going to the chasana. It's the girl's, your wife's best friend, and you have nothing to do there. So you go, you eat, have geshmaka, suit and everything. Then you leave. You didn't see the chasana.
Correct. That was exactly Abrami. That's exactly what he's talking about. So that's why the Kala pays for it. So it's not being nene from the Sudas Chassan. Yeah.
Yaakov, I actually remember in the beginning of COVID, the Ellen was talking like, what's the big deal to not have his big Suda? Who cares? And I actually saw an article. They bring down maybe it was the Hasidic circle they were saying this about that. Like, no, the idea that you create this festive Suda, it helps the couple. Like they feel like they're important or whatever it is, and it helps them in the beginning of the marriage. I don't know if that's a psychological thing or that actually is true, but they say when you miss out on that, it affects the shalom bayis a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I hear. Interesting.
It was right next to the fake the Beis Din article.
It'd be interesting if the COVID weddings, if somebody would study that.
Well, I think there are a lot of other problems that probably
right. They're going to attribute it to all the other things. Yeah.
Is it about the suit or is it about the waste?
Waste.
Yeah, that he's going to make a suda and then all of a sudden it's for nothing.
No, he's not going to make the suda because he doesn't want it to go to waste. So he's not going to.
I was learning he's not going to marry her at all and therefore not make the suda.
That's what you think the pshat is? That he's not even going to marry. Okay, but what do we care if they don't marry? I'm saying if she's a katana.
Well, because then a katana will never get married. Nobody will ever want to marry katana.
Oh, so you're saying that it's the actual okay? Interesting. I hear.
That's how
I'm not
Rashi
sure.
says. That's how Rashi says it. I think. And Rashi also says that by the Pisha in Adam Oisa Bilas Znus. Nobody's going to get married to a katana if he knows there's a chance that all his beers are going to be a business, and then this whole takana by the chacham is useless.
Jeez. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it is. Look at that. A long time no see.
Babysitting.
That's Jakob Shabbos. We're getting close to the Siyam, and Stroll, can't just show up for a Siyam. He's got to show up a couple blocks before. Okay, fine.
I was waiting to hear you say that.
That's the same thing like Miyun, it's like the guys who come for the SIEM and then they don't show up the next day. We don't want that to happen. Same thing with this.
Right.
I think
by
he
the
came.
technology event now. That's why.
Right. I said he came on. He came on
Just
because he wants to we could at least say that one person on this Daf wife went to the technology thing in Jersey. That's
No,
why.
I want to do it just to stuff the whole technology thing.
You're doing that. It's that. Okay, I knew there was a motive, something. Anyways, I hear what you're saying, Dad, but the Rashi might says.
One second, Stroll. Everybody believes you're on for a motive. We just don't know what the motive is.
Did she use ways to get there?
It's machloek. It's like this Amud. Yeah, it's
That's right. Yeah, she did use ways to get there, I would imagine. All right. Anyways, okay. So Rava Amar, Haina time of the Beis Shamai again. She'ein adam tereach b'suda mafsida. A person is not tereach with a suda, and he doesn't want to lose it. Okay, so I thought it's the suda of the nesuin, but you're right. It means l'chayra that it's mainly he's not going to get married at all. Yeah. Beis Hillel tarvayu nicha lahu kedei lelepik alayu kol ha'ishus. No, they're still happy, right? Because even if they're going to have this reputation that they got married out of what do you call it, wedlock, so that it should, the call of isha should go out, right? So they're not, meaning they'd rather have the marriage, and people that should think that the marriage, even though there is a possibility that the marriage will dissolve if she decides to walk out. Okay, so those are the 4 ways to learn the machlokes Beis Shamai and Beis Hillel. Fine. Next, the Mishnah is Beis Shamai says that you can do Miyun, you can't do Miyun from Yibum. Right? The Gemara is not going to focus on Beis Shamai now. It's going to be focusing on Beis Hillel's din, which is that you could do Miyun again if her husband dies without kids. So and now she needs to get Yibum from her brother-in-law. She could just walk out on her brother-in-law the same way she could walk out on her husband. So I'm going to see there's a machlokes. The machlokes is exactly when she could walk out and what could happen. Some of when it says that when Beis Hillel says she could do Miyun, that doesn't mean she could do Miyun and eliminate chalitza. That's not chalitza. She's stuck with because she had a husband. Lamaisa, she had a husband. The husband died. There's an automatic chalitza that happens to her, and she can't go dissolve that marriage. So when it says that she could do Miyun according to Beis Hillel, what it means is that if this brother-in-law of hers, did mamar, again, mamar is where he, a letter of intent or whatever it is that he says that he's going to do yibum to her. So then on that she could say, no, I'm miyuning you. Right, but she's still going to need to have chalitza.
Why is there any yibum?
Why is that yibum?
No, why is there any yibum over here when it comes to kedushin d'Rabbanan?
Because it's lamais, it's a kedushin, no?
No.
Why not?
She could do Miyun, but it's not a real kedushin. I've never heard of a kedushin where the woman could go ahead and get rid of the kedushin.
Well, it
doesn't work in the same way.
You're saying
I know,
so
but they obviously were not masakin and Kain Daraisa.
Right.
So why would they be masakin yibum?
You're saying how can you even allow the yibum? That's really what you're asking.
Right, and why does the Gemara assume that you can only do on the mamar part? If you could do Miyun and the idea is just to get out of jail free card, then why shouldn't you be able to say I don't want to deal with the yavam? Why would they be masakin yavam? Let her get rid of the yavam then.
I hear. I mean, why is there yibum on a marriage that's only a derabbanan?
And it's not even it's definitely not Kain Daraisa.
Correct. I hear. I don't know. I didn't think about that. Anybody have any shot on that? I hear. I don't know. Okay, very good.
Does anything have to be written with this Miyun?
Oh, but that's gonna be tomorrow's stuff. Really, okay. really nothing, but
I mean, does that have to be a witness? I mean, something?
does it have to be witness? Well, that's a machlokes whether it has to be in Beis Din. So that we'll get to. Yeah. So anyway, so that's Rabbi Shia's din. Rabbi Shia's din is that the Miyun only works for mamar. It doesn't work to eliminate chalitza. That's going to be necessary. So I'm going to just my time with Rabbi Shia. Why does Rabbi Shia say this? So mamar the midaita matzia okra. Mamar happened midaita, meaning she agreed. When he came and did mamar to her, she could have said, "Don't do mamar to me. I'm not interested in you," but she didn't. So Mamela, since she did the mamar, so therefore, so that she can get rid of it. But Zikah, the Baal Karcha, right? Zikah, again, Zikah is there's an automatic connection when her husband dies. There's an automatic connection to her brother-in-law. That brother-in-law, that connection happened without her choice. That connection is there. So Mamela, she can't just go do Miyun on that, right? So Gemara asks about Bia the Baal Karcha, but Bia, they could have had Bia too. It's Baal Karcha, right? If they could have done Yibam, which is Bia on Tom Beis now, Umatzi Akra, and she could also be Ikarit, right? According to Beis Hillel. Again, this is all in Beis Hillel. So Gemara answers, Ella, so it changes the pshat. Ella Bia Umaimer, the Huka of it, Matzi Akra. Bia and Maimer, the male does it. So she can be Ikarit. That Zikah, the Rahmana Ramala, Loi Matzi Akra. But Zikah, that the Torah is the one that made the Zikah, so that she can't be Agra. I mean, anything done by a human, she can stop. Anything done by the Torah, she can't stop. Fine. So that's Rabbi Shia. Ula disagrees. Ula Amar, Mamaenes Afra Zikase. She can do Miyun even to the Zikah, right? My timer. Nesue Kamai Ka'akra. Because what she's doing is she's uprooting, right? She's being oiker the nesuin. See, the Rabbi Shia was learning that she's not being oiker the nesuin. She has to deal with the yavam as a new entity, as a new person. But Ula says no. She can just say, my original marriage, I didn't want to be part of. So since my original marriage, I didn't want to be part of. Mamela, this whole yibum is out the window, right? So that's a machlokes Ula and Rabbi Shia. So I'm going to ask on Ula. And this will bring back some I don't know if they're fond memories, but from the first Mishna in the Masechta, Rav asked the Kasha Ula, this is all talking about the tzaras, right? So tzaras again is if the guy's married to two women, and one of them falls, then he dies, and one of them is one of his wives is going to be his brother's daughter or whatever it is, one of the 15 arayas. But let's say she was less than 12. So the Gemara, the Mishnah says, if she's able to do Miyun and she doesn't do it, then tzarasa chalitza v'lo yavam, then her tzara has to get chalitza. They're not allowed to do Yibam. So the Gemara says, "V'amai, why? Timayin hashta, so do it now, right?" We're saying, sound like she had the opportunity to do Miyun and she didn't do it. So then that's it. The tzara can only get chalitza. There can be no Yibam. So according to Ula, just do it now, right? Just do it now, and she nixed the whole marriage, and then everything. Then they could do yibum. But my timan hashta v'takrinu l'nisua kamay and be oiker, uproot the first marriage with this yavam tzarasa, and then do yibum to the tzara. So our answer is no. That's no. It's different. Tzaras erva shani. The tzara of an erva is different, right? When there's a zika with the tzara of an erva, then that's not gonna, the Miyun is not gonna be able to stop that. That's already too strong a connection. Tatani Rambam Yecheskel Miyun of the Baal, right? If she does Miyun on her husband, Muteris la'aviv, she's allowed to marry his father, right? Because again, when she does Miyun, she's nixing the marriage, right? You're only not allowed to marry your husband's father if you actually were married to your husband. If you were never married, which she wasn't, she nixed it, so then it's not a problem. The yavam asura la'aviv, but if it's a yavam, then she can't marry his father. So when she falls to the brother in yibam, so then she looks already like she's the daughter-in-law. So Hanami b'shas nefila niris kitzaras bita, she already looks like the tzara of his daughter, and therefore she can no longer do miyun, right? Because it already looks too bad. Fine.
But see, Yaakov, that the din that she can marry the father when it comes to me, and isn't that telling the machlekes in the first parak that a nusas or a mafuta of is mutter to the relatives?
Again, what are you saying?
A stama a nusa mafuta is. Didn't we say it's a machlekes if you can go ahead and marry the relative of a nusa mafuta?
Yes. No, Hanusa Mafuta. I thought we said
He could marry the relatives.
I thought that's
Hanusa Mafuta,
machlekes.
I think the case was by a brother whose father
No,
had a daughter through that relation if they could marry each other.
Right, because of the nusa that happened originally, or the mufuta that happened originally.
I understand, Aki. What do you want to say with that?
I'm just asking if this is according to everyone.
What would be the problem here?
Is there some shaykhs? The same way we said over there, there's some shaykhs that it makes you usher.
Because it's your sister, technically. You're marrying your sister over there. You're marrying your sister.
It's not the relative you're usher to also? It's not the father you're usher to also? Can somebody marry a father's mafuta? If a father was ma'anis somebody, could somebody go ahead? Could the son go ahead and marry the person that the father's ma'anis? So I'm saying, why is that any different over here? This would be the same machlekes, no? If she's ma'ana him, if she's miyana him, why should the son be able to marry her?
Or why should her father be able to marry
Right,
her?
I'm saying, does it not work both ways?
I thought that was fine.
No, it's a machlekes. What the type of knaf of it? It's not
Right,
a general
that's the machlekes is knaf of it. Right, that's the machlekes.
So I'm saying, according to the side that
this is knaf.
So it doesn't work both ways.
The Mishnah is on Sadi Zion of Yaakov, start of a new Perek. It talks about that.
Right. So, but it's a machlekes.
I'm asking, is Miyana the same din? Let me, you know what? Let me flip it. If a father if a father marries a katana and then she does Miyana, can the son go ahead and marry her?
If a father does,
according to machlekes.
right. I don't know. Okay, let's like if you want, we could hold in the end and discuss it because it's getting a little late. But let's see Vata, yeah. So Amar Rav. So Rav is a new din, right? Now, because what happens if there's more brothers and she does Miyun to one? Is it going to eliminate the other one? So Amar Rav, Miyun abezev asura lezeh. If she does Miyun to this one, she's going to be usher to the other brothers too. Me did have a bailas get the same thing by a yavam who gets a get. Meaning, if you have your yavam and she has a bunch of brothers and one of them gives her a get, so then she's out from all of them, even though she's going to also need chalitza, right? So bailas to get lav kiva the itzrala lachad itzralu lakulu. So because by a get, if one of the brothers gives her a get, since she's usher to one, she's usher to all. Hachanami loishnasa here too doesn't make a difference. Shmuel Amar Miyun abazeh. Muteres lazeh. Shmuel disagrees. If she does miyun to one brother, again, this is talking about by Yibum, then she's going to be mutter to the other brothers. And it's not similar to Bailas Aget. Bailas Aget, who the Ka'avid ba, because Bailas Aget, he gave her a get. He Ka'av the Bay. Here, when she does miyun, she's the one getting rid of him, right? I think it's the only scenario in Yiddishkeit where the girl has the power, right? By the get, he's the one giving her the get. Here, it's Miyun. The Amra, because she says, Loi re'inabach, v'loi tzvinabach, I don't want you and I don't like you, right? So Bach, who the Loi it's only you I don't like. But I do like your chaver, meaning your brother. Yeah, Ravasi, so that's a machlokes Rav and Shmuel. Ravasi has a third shita, Miyun abezeh muteres afilu loi. If she does miyun to one of the brothers-in-law, not only is she mutter to the other brothers, she's even mutter to him, right? What's a pshat? Lema Rabbi Shia svilas. And one says, well, let's say he holds like Rabbi Shia. the Amar Einam Ma'anas L'Zikasa. She cannot do Miyun to her Zikah, right? Because the Zikah was never gotten rid of. So Mamela, she can go back to the brother. So she can go back to even the one that she did the Miyun to. So the Gemara answers no. By one yavam, right? Then she could nix the Zikah, right? And then she would be asked him. But here we're talking about with the two brothers, right? The ain miyun lachatzi zika. There's no such thing as miyun for a chatzi zika, meaning because there's a zika to two brothers. She does miyun to one. What's going to be with the other one, right? So if so by two brothers, then the miyun is not going to work because it's a half a miyun. So mamela, she's allowed to go back. Fine. Kiyasa Rav and Amar of Yochanan miyun abazeh mutaras la'achin. If she does miyun to this one, she's mutter to the brothers. V'loy haydolai, they didn't agree with him. Man loy haydolai, who's the one that didn't agree with him? Amar Abaya, Rav. It was Rav. Rav Rav Aishia. Rav Amar Rav Aishia. No, it's Rav Aishia. V'amri lo Rav Asi. And some say that it's Rav Asi. Okay, fine. So that's the bottom line, is that there's a three-way machlokes. If she does miyun, Rav holds she does miyun to one, she's out from all the brothers. She can't get yavam. Shmuel says she does miyun, she's out from the one she did miyun to, but she can have yavam from the other brothers. And Ravasi holds she could even go back and have miyun from the guy. She can even go have a yavam from the one that she did miyun to. Fine. That's the harder part of the daf. Now it gets a little easier. Beis Shamai Yomrim, a lot easier. Beis Shamai Yomrim b'fanav. Right? So Beis Shamai says that the miyun has to be in front of him. She can't just, leave one day and that's it. So Tanya Amrlin Beis Hillel Beis Shamai, Balai Pishan Hagamal Miyana Ishtay Shalai b'fanav. So Beis Hillel says to Beis Shamai, Pishan Hagamal, Pishan the camel driver, his wife did miyun to him and he wasn't around. Right? So Amrullah Beis Shamai Beis Hillel, Pishan Agamal b'mida kfusha madad. He was measuring with a messed up measuring stick, meaning the way Rashi says it, he had like a turned over measuring stick, meaning he was trashing his wife's fields, right? So the Chachamim got upset at him, and therefore they said, okay, we're just going to allow her to leave. We're not going to make into this whole big deal. The fikach so therefore they gave him also the same, they did like Mida Keneged Mida, since he was trashing his wife's fields. So the Mela, they trashed him and they said, okay, she could walk out on you and she doesn't have to be there. They don't have to have a whole thing of Beis Din. So Gemara asks, but again, we said that Nichse Milug, you have to be married for that. You have to have the second stage of marriage, can't be engagement. So Medika Peri, if he was eating the pears, Pshita and the Suahi, right, then it has to be pashut that she was married. But doesn't Beis Shamai say in the Nesua can't do miyun? So how could that be? How could this whole story fit according to Beis Shamai? Right? Beis Shamai said that once they have the second stage of marriage, there's no more miyun. So how could it be? So Gemara answers, Trey Kitri of Dubei. No, they tied him up twice. Right? They knotted him up twice, meaning they were so upset at him for trashing his wife's fields. So therefore they said that she could even walk out on him, even though they were married, which is fascinating because that means it's basically a kedushin d'Rabbanan, and the Rabbanan have the wherewithal to say whatever they want, right? Which is interesting going with Beis Shamai Shita, because Beis Shamai and Aleph, they were concerned of the guy trashing the field. That was one of their concerns, which is why they didn't allow it from the Suin. Fine. Beis Shamai Yomrim b'fnei Beis Din, you have to be b'fnei Beis Din, and Beis Hillel said it doesn't have to be b'fnei Beis Din. So Tanan Hasam, chalitza v'miyun and b'shloisha. Chalitza and miyun have to be in front of three. Mantana, Amarabba Beis Shamai. That's going to Beis Shamai. Abaya Amar afilu tem Beis Hillel. It could even be Beis Hillel, meaning Beis Hillel said it doesn't have to be in Beis Din. Ad kan like Amar Beis Hillel el d'levin and mumchen. Beis Hillel is just saying you don't need experts. Avol shloisha be'inon. But you do need three. Kedatanya b'Shamai Yomrim b'fnei Beis Din. It has to be in front of Beis Din. Beis Hillel Yomrim b'fnei Beis Din. V'shaloi b'fnei Beis Din. It can be in. It doesn't have to be specifically in front of Beis Din. Ve'elu moedim shetzarach shloisha. And they both agree that it needs three. but just not mumchen. So Rabbi Yosef Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon say it's Miyun is kosher with two. And Rabbi Yosef Nachman zug, the Allah is like that pair, right? And Tosfos says, the second Tosfos on the bottom says that really it can be one too. You just need edus, so you don't need two alts of Beis Din. You need two alts edim. But really, other than that, it can even be one, which is interesting because by Miyun, we're saying we paskin, you don't need a Beis Din. Like we paskin like this pair. By chalitza, we don't paskin like them. The Gemara says, beferish, the halacha is not like them. And you need to have 3 dayanim. Fine.
Minyume is a name, or Minyume comes from Minion? That's how he passed.
I always thought it was a name.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think so.
Didn't Rashi say about 10 blot ago that it's a name is Talmud Rav?
Yeah. So what are you saying?
Rashi said it was his name.
No,
something.
Gershom, I'm saying because he said over here that it goes by the Zug, so that's all. So maybe that they named them for this. Okay, fine.
Yeah. Okay, so then the last part of the Mishnah seems like Beis Shamai is saying that what happens once she does Miyun, she can no longer, she has to wait around. She can no longer marry anybody else. She has to wait till she's 12 and then do Miyun again. So what does that mean? So Gemara, she already did Miyun. So why is she doing Miyun again after her bas mitzvah? Basically, Shmuel saying she has to wait and she has to say that I wanted my miyunim harishonim, right? Meaning, maybe we have to be concerned that she really wanted to go back to that husband. So she just has to confirm that she agrees with her earlier miyun, but she doesn't actually do another miyun. And Ula Amar Tarti Katani. Ula is saying that no, it's two different dinim in the Mishnah. Oy shetimayin the tagdil v'tiyaras. She can do miyun, and then when she gets older, she can become engaged. Or she could do miyun, and she can get married right after the kedushin. Right? So that's the two ways of learning it. Again, Shmuel is saying that it's just she has to just confirm that she did miyun, and Ula is saying it's two different dinim. So the Bishlama Ula Haindukatani Ad Shetagdil Vitinase. So Shmuel, the lashon fits very well until she gets bigger and she gets married, right? Shmuel, it shouldn't say until she grows older and v'timayin. It should say until she grows older v'taima mibayile. That's what it should say. So kasha, it's a kasha. Fine. Let's just see the Mishnah because tomorrow's daf is pretty long. Fine. So Ezehi katana shetzricha l'mayin. What type of a katana needs miyun? So it's a four-way machlokes in this Mishnah. Kol shisiyo ima b'chel l'daita. If the mother and the brothers married her off with her das, meaning she agreed to it. If she married her off without her das, then she doesn't need miyun at all because she didn't agree to it. I mean, she could just walk out. If she's so young that she can't watch her kedushin. Now, what does it mean to watch her kedushin? She can't watch her rings. Meaning, let's say she gets the ring or money. That's how you do kedushin, right? The husband has to give her money. So if she's not mature enough to watch her money, then she doesn't need me, and she was too young to even get involved in the parsha. Rebbe Eliezer, Rebbe Lazar, Omer. What was the Bach say again? Rebbe Eliezer, right? That's Rebbe Eliezer. My Rebbe Eliezer, Omer, ain't ma'isa katana klum elikim afuta. The ma'isa of a katana is nothing, and it's as if she was coerced. Right? What does that mean? So Bas Yisrael l'koyin l'taychel b'truma. If it's a Bas Yisrael who got married to a koyin, she can't eat truma. Bas koyin l'Yisrael. If it's a Bas koyin to Yisrael, taychel b'truma, she could eat truma. But when Yaakov Omer, he's the fourth sheet of kol akava shkimina ish. If the akava is coming from the man, meaning if she's being prevented from doing anything because it's coming from the angle from the man, ki'ilu hi ishtai, then it's as if she's the wife. If the akav is not coming from the man, it's coming from her, ki'ilu eina ishtai, then that's as if she's not the wife. So Rashi says we're going to see in the Gemara exactly what this means. It's a little difficult to understand what that means. Okay, let's just see a few lines in the Gemara. Some of Yehuda, this is doctor what you were saying, but it's showing how you guys can get Miyun. In the beginning, they would actually write a get for Miyun, right? Not that it was a real get, but just to prove that there was a get. When what did it say in there? Like we said before, I don't find him friendly or whatever. I don't like him, but and I have no wants for him. But less on and I don't want to marry him. Even the chazad enough for Shlibura, since they saw that was already too much writing. Amri, now on Tamar Aleph, Asi lachlufi begita. So then people are just going to mix it up with a real standard get, right? Meaning, it's interesting. Rashi says a cipher bur, a cipher who's an amoritz, right, is going to think that I can use the miyun get in order to divorce her. So they wanted to separate the difference between. They wanted to make a difference between the miyun get and the regular gets of the kinu hachi. So the masakin, this is what they write: on this day, Plainis pas Pliny did miyun on this person, right? And that would be enough, right? Fine, okay. Stop over here. All right. Gute Nacht. Yeah. Now, Akiva, what were you saying?
I don't understand that. Then this last Mishnah.
Just one second. Anybody who could attend tomorrow morning, 7:20 Meehan Outdoors Minion, right off Reed's Lane would be appreciated. I'll be outside. 7:20 is Rabbi Shmuel.
What's the name? Shalom and Aliyah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Avram Ben Yosef. But anybody could attend, really appreciate it. I'm talking about any man over 13. Any young girls could do Miyun, but any man over whatever,
There
you know.
go. What do you mean by that?
Very good.
I
mean,
he's not trying to be mean to girls either.
The cover the yard side, doctor. We'll give you a little bit of your medicine.
I really would appreciate it if somebody could attend at least. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. What are you saying, Peretz?
So if the girl, it's against her will, the whole Miyun thing for some reason tonight is making me a little.
Yeah, it's I didn't understand this Mishnah exactly because it seems like one of these.
Once she has das and she doesn't refuse, then what? Then she could wake up and then refuse. She agreed to it, and she has the das.
Yeah, but
according to Beis Hillel, she could agree. They can get married. They can this, and then she could wake up a day before she's 12 and say, "I'm out." According to Beis Shamai, she can't. But then you also have she couldn't have been forced into it.
Right. And then the other thing that's bothering me here, what's it says, Ein Maisa Katana Klum. So what does that mean? So that means there's no such thing as Miyun. What's the case of Miyun then? Saying
I thought it was talking about Maisa Bia.
No, it's saying Maisa Katana is nothing. So that means there's no Miyun.
According to him.
What are you saying?
Could be maybe according to him, their Taka isn't.
It could be. I just wonder. It's interesting.
I think what you're saying is that whatever she thinks doesn't matter. She wants to say she doesn't want to stay. It doesn't matter.
No, but here we're saying that she could walk out without having to do any sort of Miyun
because nothing she does, whether she agrees to it, doesn't agree to it, means anything.
It's like him a futta. That's what he says.
Right, so it's not real kedushin. She's like a nothing. She's not involved in ishus. She's not involved in anything.
Right. So that means she doesn't need Miyun according to him, right?
Right.
She
doesn't need it. She doesn't need to do anything.
And since that's true, you can't even say the Rabbanu were Masaka that she should be some type of level of kinyan that he has in her, that she could go out and eat truma.
I hear. I don't know. I would. What should I tell you? What were you saying before, Akiva, with the
Which item?
With the anusas of it. Yeah.
I was asking in a case where you have a father, he marries a katana, and then she goes ahead and she does miyun. Could the son go ahead and marry her then? Or is it exactly like we said earlier that anusas aviv is a shot? Is it machlokes?
No, that's not the machlokes.
I'm asking,
No,
why is it any
the
different?
way
That's
around
mamish
it
anusas
is.
aviv.
No, that
From a
wouldn't be the
footnote.
machlokes. The machlokes of anusas aviv is if your father was ma'anis somebody
And
had a
anusa
kid,
umafuta.
so that kid is your sister.
Let's say the father's mafata somebody. No. If your father was
No.
ma'anis somebody, can you go ahead and go marry him as a
Yes,
machlokes?
that's that first mission on Daf Tadi Zayin that aren't.
If your
part of-
father's ma'anis a woman, you can't
That's
go ahead and
two
marry her. It's a
different-
machlokes.
Yes, you can.
It's a machlokes.
No,
Not
that's
in the
not
Mishnah. Look
this.
in the Mishnah. It's not a machlokes.
That's the machlokes Rabbi Yehuda with the family. Rabbi Yehuda
No.
holds anusas aviv is us.
But that's talking
And
about the
see, the
kid. That's talking about the kid.
No, it's talking
no.
about the
Go to Daf
father.
Tadi Zayin Amud Aleph, the
It's
first
talking about the
Mishnah.
woman herself. It's a machlokes tanai.
Go to Daf
You're
Tadi
talking
Zayin
about two
Amud
different
Aleph.
things. Charlie, you're talking about something else. You're not wrong. But he's talking about the actual woman, not the daughter. The woman herself, the anusas aviv, is a machlokes tanoim, whether it's us or mutter, it's not problem.
Go to Daf Tadi Zayin Amud Aleph.
Right, it's a drushim
They don't
psukim.
have
You're
one
right.
on Pennsylvania.
Go to Daf Tadi Zayin Amud Aleph and look what it says. When it says anusas aviv, I think it means. I don't think it means somebody that you're. I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
I think you're wrong.
Gimel Amud base, the top of the page, I think.
What?
Gimel Amud base, top of the page. Machlokes Rabbi Yehuda with the family.
Right, the machlokes in that Mishnah also, but I think it means the kid.
Separate machlokes. You're not wrong. It's a separate machlokes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, because clearly in the Mishnah there's no machlokes.
Right. So the first Mishnah of the Perek of Yevamos, the same thing. Or it's hakert. But it's only according to Rabbi Yehuda, but anusas is awesome.
So Gershon, what do you think? Would you be mutter by miyun of
So I think it's a little bit different. I think according to the according to Rabbi Yehuda holds anusas aviv is asur with the raisa, that would l'chayra be asur. But I would say
That's what
that
I'm asking.
even according to the Rabbanim, who holds that anusas aviv is mutter, here maybe it's worse. So it would be shnius maybe.
Here it's flipped though. Does it work the other way also? Is the son allowed to marry?
No, that doesn't work the other way.
Okay, so then
Backwards,
obviously over
married,
here
it's
it's different. It's different. You side.
Yeah, but I'm saying even in your case,
Right.
where it is, I think it would be worse than the original case.
No time. According to Akiva, what was Akiva's case again? By the way,
You're saying because here there's a marasign of like Rashi, there's a marasign of kedushin.
Oh, the Rabbanim made it a real marriage, whatever that
Right.
means.
No, but what was your shiloh? But what was the case?
A father goes ahead and marries a katana, and then she does miyun. So now she's what we would call a nusas umafutas aviv. Can a son go ahead and marry that woman? So he's saying even though Rabbanan hold normally you could, over here maybe not because it has a shemitz of a what's it called of a kedushin.
It's halachah or something like that. Yeah, the other way around.
But Rashi only says that because she fell to Yibum.
Yeah, but Lamaisa, the marriage before the Miyun, the marriage was a man.
I don't know.
Even though the Miyun messed it up before the Miyun, it was a man.
Hey, Stove, why don't you turn on your camera?
Why do you care so much? I feel like Yisrael comes on just to ask me that. What's a time? That's how he comes on. Anyways, all right. I'm gonna do a shtickle chazara. Have a good one, guys.
I could hear the other way around though also, Akiva. I could hear that even according to Rabbi Yehuda, it wouldn't be a mitzvah itself.
Because it's just like a mistake almost.
Because the Miyun took care of whatever it was.
I don't know. It's not much like that. I don't know. Rashi says, I don't know. I hear.
Yeah, that's just the deal
maybe
with
we're talking
the
to us over here.
Right, that's what I would assume also. I don't know.
That's what I thought at first, but now I'm thinking maybe not. Maybe the Rashi's only saying to potter up the beer or something.
Well, it comes out. That's not the only. The other thing it comes out according to this daf. You could be mamayin on your yavam.
It depends who you hold. Like it might not be mine on your yavam. It might be mine on the original kedusha.
Well, I'm saying, let's say you can't be mamayin on the Zikah. Let's say, right?
Right.
But if you once you did the yavam, then you could do Miyun.
Right. You can only do mine on the actual yavam.
Well, according to Beis Shamai, you can't because you already did an issuance.
Right.
All right.
So what happened with Talski?
I gave him your number today. Did he call you?
Not that I know of. What did he say?
Nothing. He said he asked me for the information, and I don't know
about what prat.
What prat?
About my kids getting into camp, or
about what else?
Or he needed a rabbi.
He doesn't handle the rebbeim. Somebody else handles the rebbeim.
Thiago, when are you going to camp?
Friday.
When does camp start?
They're coming back Sunday. Camp starts Tuesday.
Did they figure out the Wi-Fi this time?
Supposedly Aaron Kaplan said he got a better Wi-Fi, and it should be all right. So let's hope.
I have a feeling your iPad's gonna be like turned sideways to catch better signals or something.
Why? I thought my what do you call it? My Verizon worked fine up there.